Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we've seen a few movies lately and read some stories about people dying and coming back to life and relating that experience of heaven that they went through during their death. And one of these stories actually was rescinded lately. But Mark Galli, who is editor of Christianity Today, and by the way, my husband and I get a lot of our movies from CT. Mark Galli says that there is one of these stories that strikes him as really true, and this is the story of Don Piper. 90 Minutes in Heaven was his New York Times best-selling book. It sold 7 million copies. Now it's a film, and it's going to be released September 11th in 800 theaters nationwide by Giving Films. And with us to discuss this is one of the actors in the movie. He is Michael W. Smith, and you know him as a singer, songwriter, and musician. He's sold more than 15 million albums, achieved 28 number one songs, earned 3 Grammy Awards, 1 American Music Award, and more than 40 Dove Awards. Michael, thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you, Penn. I appreciate it so much.
I guess I add to that resume an actor because you are an actor in this movie. You've acted before. And this is the story of Don Piper and the crash in 1989. He was hit by a semi-tractor truck. He died and he stayed dead for 90 minutes, didn't he?
He did. It's pretty extraordinary. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, he was pronounced dead at least twice, you know, and then he's alive today.
So is this movie? Is this movie that's coming out, is this major on his time in heaven, or is this mostly major after he came back to life?
It really majors on what happens to him afterwards. I mean, obviously extraordinary that he was dead for 90 minutes and he came back to life. You know, some guy crawled back in the trunk to pray for him. He's already deceased. Everybody thought he was crazy. And this guy comes back to life. But really the crux of the story is about what happens to him when he's in that hospital and he just wants to give up. He's in so much pain. He's basically checked out. He's pretty depressed and desperate and great adversity. And so I think that's the beauty of the story, is to see him get on this one side. He can't help himself, and finally his wife, his community, and his church just said, you know what? Don, you're not in charge anymore. We're in charge. We're going to pray for you. We're going to pray all night. We'll pray for days, and we're going to pray you through this thing. And that's, to me, that's really the big takeaway for me is watching this, because this guy was destined to die. He had double pneumonia. You know, he's going to die, basically. And to watch him come on the other side of it, and he's alive today telling his story all around the world. Pretty extraordinary.
Michael, you have a part in the movie, and first of all, you're such a busy person. You're so successful in Christian music, and you bless so many. Why would you decide to just to do this, to do a movie, to be an actor?
Well, I first got a call. I mean, I think that's I get asked to do a lot of stuff. I've had a lot of scripts float across my desk, and can't seem to find anything that I like. Just to try to find a great story, to find a great story, which is what I found here. Not only is it a great story, but it's true. It's not based on a true story. It's a true story. And I was just fascinated by the script. I mean, my first question was, I didn't say yes immediately. I'm just going, I want to know who the director is, who's the cast, who's producing the movie, and I need to read the script. And I was pleasantly surprised when I read it. So it just was a gut thing. I mean, they asked me to score the film, and I got asked to do 2 things. Would you score the film, but not only score the film, but would you play a small part, a significant part in the movie, playing one of Don's best friends named Cliff McCardle? And so once I read the script, I jumped in and said, let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready to go.
So you scored the movie, and in a sense, do you see this movie as a ministry?
Absolutely. I mean, to me, there's so much takeaway from the movie for a believer, for a non-believer, for anybody. I think people in general, I think people of faith are enamored by heaven. Probably most of us who will go see this movie, we have people who are already there. We don't I just think people are enamored by it, and I think we move so fast, and then when we see a film or we read a book about heaven, we just kind of want to stay there for a while, and that's what the testing seemed to be when they tested this movie all around the country. Just people were just enamored by this guy, what happened to him, and where he went, and all these people he saw. So I think it's got a shot. I mean, I think it plays well. The performances are amazing, and yeah, and a lot of buzz about the movie. That's a big opening to be able to open up 800 theaters around the country. I think that's pretty substantial.
Well, it sure is. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest is Michael W. Smith. And yes, this is the musician, singer, songwriter. He's acting in a movie that's coming out September 11th. It's called 90 Minutes in Heaven. And this is the story of Don Piper. You may have read the best-selling book that came out in the 90s. And so now the book is being made into a movie. We've had a lot of interest in these types of stories about people going to heaven and coming back to tell about it. This one seems very believable, and Michael W. Smith is here to tell us about it today. Michael, I want to talk to you about the actors, the others. You play a friend of Don Piper, and his name is Cliff McArdle. There are others who, some good talent in this movie, so tell us about it.
Well, Hayden Christensen, which we all probably know from the Star Wars movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he played Darth Vader in those last three that were out. He plays Don and does a magnificent job. I mean, he really, to show the pain and all the stuff he went through, to me, it was a difficult role to take. And I think he knocked it out of the park. I mean, I every time I watch it, I tear up, because it's so believable. And so I'd say, kudos to him for just knocking it out of the park. And then Kate Bosworth. I mean, Kate, I've been a fan of Kate's for a long time. She's a great actress, and she plays the part of Don's wife, Eva, and that was also intriguing about the part that Cliff plays, because a lot of my scenes are with Kate, because I'm there at the beginning of the movie when all this is going down. Kate doesn't know anything, or Eva doesn't know anything about Don having some heaven experience. All she knows is she's gotten a call that Don's been in a horrific car accident. And so I show up at her elementary school with two of her best friends, and I don't leave her side. I take her to the hospital. I'm not leaving. I'm there. And sometimes in tragic situations like that, that's really, maybe you don't have a whole lot to say. You're just there, and you're not going to leave. And that was really my part, especially at the beginning, was just being with her, make sure she didn't flip out. I'm sort of a stabilizing factor in the midst of a very touchy, tragic situation.
She's married to the director, isn't she?
She is. She's married to Michael, and Michael's a great director and was a joy to work with. Just really, Michael's been working with Don Piper on this movie for over 4 years. So, very, very carefully making sure that this story was told correctly. I think there's been some other people who wanted to be involved, who wanted to change the story and maybe make it not so faith-based. I don't know the whole story. I just know that there was some possible, complications with some other folks who wanted to be involved in the movie. But Michael has stayed true to the story, and the fact that he spent that much time with Don to make sure that the story was told correctly, I think is amazing. So
that's Michael Polish, and this is Giving Films. And Michael, tell us about the uniqueness of this company, Giving Films. Well,
I think it's pretty much, it kind of blows me away. You're going to start a film company and you're going to give all the proceeds away,
It's amazing.
To charity. I think that's pretty incredible, and, Mr. Jackson, who's very involved, obviously, in financing the film. This is something that he's wanted to do, I think, for a very long time. And I think that's pretty amazing. He's a good guy. He's a really, really good guy. So hopefully, selfishly for just what the whole company is about, I hope it does extremely well, because it means there's going to be a lot of money given away to a lot of great charities.
Yeah, that's great. Do you know any of the charities that they specifically tend to
give
what?
To? I had a list of those charities, and I don't have them in front of me, but they're all legit. I remember looking at them and thought, this is good. So, yeah.
Yeah, it is
I'm
good.
sure we can get. I'm sure we can get that to you if you'd like a list of them. I'm sure we can get that to you.
Oh, we would love that because we can talk about that. And okay, it's Rick Jackson who's the founder.
Yeah, Rick. That's right, it's Rick.
It's great. It's a great concept, and I see here that they plan to produce 2 new faith films a year, and to be a giving engine. What a fantastic concept!
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay, Michael, tell us what your thoughts on the state of Hollywood sort of filmmaking today, and really I think it's one of the happy stories that these films that are of faith, that are very clear about faith and don't try to hide it or whitewash it, are now of very high quality, popular. They're moneymakers for Hollywood, aren't they?
Well, they have been lately. They have been, and I think. For a long time, Hollywood didn't want to really get involved in that genre until they found out that there was money to be had. I mean, it's just a fact, that there's a huge audience out there that will go see a film like 90 Minutes in Heaven. And so you know what? I'm not critical of that. I think I'm just glad they woke up and smelled the roses, everybody wants to do well, and we all got to make a living and all that sort of thing and pay the bills. And kudos to the people that have gotten involved that are not, they're in it for the business wise. Whether these movies and some of these stories have been told are changing people's lives. I mean, how about that? I think that's pretty cool.
It's very cool. Okay, it starts September 11th in 800 theaters across the country. That's a Friday. Michael, we're so glad that you're involved in this. I want to ask you a couple things about your music career, if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. I know that you've scored this. What's the latest album you've got out?
Well, Sovereign came out last May, and so we've been on the Sovereign World Tour. It really is a miracle that I was able to even do this movie because, this world tour has taken us out of the country 6 times. I'm going to Tokyo next week. We've already been to South Africa and Nigeria and Spain and Norway and all these places, and we still got a few ways to go. So just the fact that it landed perfectly in the early spring for me to be able to do this was awesome. So, yeah, it's been an amazing tour. We're still touring in the States a little bit in the fall, and then I'll wrap it up with a Christmas tour in December, much of that tour with Amy Grant in arenas around the country.
A couple of years ago, I got to see you with the Dallas Symphony at the Meyerson Theater here. It was such a blessing. That was awesome. You do such a wonderful job.
Well, thank you. And what a great symphony and what a great place. I did it 6 years in a row.
Wow.
And last year was the first time that I didn't do it. And, Amy and I decided we'd do it together, and we went to American Airlines Arena and did it last year. And we're doing the same thing this year at American Airlines Arena again. So, but yeah, what a great symphony. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. It's always been a joy to work with the Dallas Symphony for sure.
Well, fantastic. Well, Michael, I know that you have been also the entertainer of presidents. And I remember one time you came to a National Religious Broadcasters Convention and played for the whole convention. President Bush was there. And you have certainly been in the White House many times. How about lately?
Well, I've been there. Well, I think I was there once. Matter of fact, I was there twice. This was last
in the
year,
Obama White House.
Yeah, not too many times, but I was there because they were honoring George Bush Sr. And his Points of Light Foundation, which has been a great thing. I'm very good friends with the elder Bushes. We love them dearly, and so they were honoring him on several occasions, actually. And so my wife Debbie and I were invited to be a part of that, and so that's the last time I was there, and that's probably been a good year and a half ago.
Okay, well, just one final question, I guess. I know that you've raised 5 children. You've had this wonderful career. Do you feel like you have accomplished the purpose for which God put you here on this earth? Do you think there's lots more out there, or are you just going to kind of keep on making music and doing these things that you've been doing so well for years?
I think the best days are ahead. Is that weird to say?
No, it's not weird.
And that's not an egotistical statement. I feel like I'm hitting in my sweet spot. I I feel like I'm doing it for all the right reasons more than ever. I'm not interested in being a movie star or a rock star. I could care less if I win another award. So when you stop sort of, I mean, you got to compete on some level, but when you stop worrying about the accolades and, oh, are people going to like me or not, and you're free from all that, gosh, I just think there's a real creative freedom that just shows up inside of me. And I just feel like there's something great about to happen. And I really don't know what that is. I've got 6 things on my drawing board, everything from a orchestral full symphony worship record to writing a classical work, which I began 3 years ago, So I am going to do another Cracker Barrel record, another hymns record. This will be the second part. I did that a year and a half ago. I'm really thrilled with that. So that's one thing I am going to do this fall, is do the second part to the hymns project. But yeah, and just feeling the favor of God on my life all around the world blows my mind when you walk into a little village or go into Zimbabwe or Nigeria and they're singing every word to every song of yours. That just makes my head spin, because I never could have orchestrated any of it. And it's a God thing, really, at the end of the day. And so I'm loving that part of my life, and my family's great. I've got 11 grandkids and no one on the way, and we're just having the time of our lives. Very blessed beyond measure, to say the least.
Well, Michael, do you find as you mature in your faith, and of course you've been so gifted and blessed and you've worked hard and you've made the most of the gifts God has given you, but does it become, as you grow older, I find this in my life, more about God and less about you, and that's just such a wonderful way to live?
Absolutely.
It just seems that way.
You just want to like give your life away. You just want to. It's just, you really, again, you think you sort of get over the you part. It's not about me part. It's amazing how, every once in a while that little me thing creeps up. But man, I just want to be awesome everywhere I go. I've been hanging out with Bob Goff lately. I don't know if you know who Bob is. He wrote this book called Love Does. He's the happiest guy I've ever met, and his whole thing is, I've got it on my board, I got it on my mirror in my bathroom. It says, love God, love people, and do stuff. And I love that. He just goes out and just radiates the heart of God everywhere he goes. Just, he's the kind of guy who wants, matter of fact, he just sent me an email going, we need to just rent an ice cream truck and just go hand out ice cream bars to everybody. It's just crazy little, fun stuff like that. Just
to bless people.
Loving, just bless people. So that's my goal today. I mean, I'm going to finish these interviews here in 15, 20 minutes, and I just want to go out and bless people. I just want to go love on people and reflect who he is. So that's what I want to be about, honestly, for the rest of my life.
Well, Michael W. Smith, that's what you do, and you do it very well. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
God bless you.